What's going on, campers? Campfacer here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do a review on a fan-made Friday the 13th film called The Fall of Camp Blood. It's written and directed by Riley Lorden, better known as Slash and Cast. It's produced by Peter Anthony Productions. Now, this film has been in the works for a good 3+ years, I want to say. I'm an original backer of it. I have my name in the credits as Powell Custom Drums. It was going to be Campfacer, but I created Campfacer, and I didn't know which way to go with that, so you'll see it in the end credits. I also have my photo as a victim in the film on a missing persons flyer. You'll see it in the upper left-hand corner as Campfacer. Be on the lookout for that. If you haven't seen this film, I highly recommend go watch it. I'll put the link down in the description below because I'm going to do some spoilers here in this review. Again, go watch it and come back and then, join the conversation. So that's your warning. So anyways, and also before you go watch the film, I highly recommend this. I preach this to all my fans out there. Please, whether it's a fan-made film or a Hollywood big production, when you go to see a movie, dive in with a bucket of popcorn and an imagination. Put your imagination in the shoes of the characters. Don't go walking into a movie theater with a pen and a notepad taking notes of what would never happen and this and that. You know, dive in with an imagination. Be open-minded. I get kids nowadays, they like to nitpick things and make fun of things all the time, but it ruins the experience. Trust me. Anyways, The Fall of Camp Blood takes place directly after Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. We always wondered what happened between Part 4 and Part 5 to Tommy Jarvis. Like what happened directly after that? Obviously, in Part 5, he's been in a mental institution, locked up, because he went through all that trauma with his family and friends getting murdered, and him facing a killer, Jason Voorhees. So we always wondered what happened. So that's what this film is all about. It takes place directly after the events of Part 4, the final chapter, when Tommy kills Jason at the end, or you thought he killed him. And their excuse to introduce Jason to this one is Jason still has a pulse. Now that makes sense, you know, he's not fully alive after the machete went into his head and he fell down. He had a pulse. So when the ambulance rescue shows up with the police, they wheel Jason into the ambulance and they find that he has a pulse. And come to find out, when they're trying to resuscitate him on the way to the hospital, he comes back to life. But that's what they're trying to do, because no matter what, you guys, when you're in a rescue, you're trying to, an ambulance driver, or you work at a hospital, you try to save lives. Whether they're a killer or an innocent victim, you're trying to keep them alive. That's their job. So it was a little bit like, okay, I see what they're doing. It's kind of weird they're trying to bring back Jason Voorhees, but to that ambulance driver, they're just doing their job. They showed up. They might have heard that this guy killed people, but whether he goes to jail after that, if they bring him back to life, what's their plan then? Are they going to bring him to jail? I don't know, whatever. But the sheriff and the deputy and the sheriff, they whisper to each other before the ambulance takes off, we need to put this guy down once and for all. Don't bring him to the hospital. I don't want this bastard coming back to life. Execute him, bring him to the camp, Crystal Lake. So that's where it got kind of weird, where they were trying to drive him to a different direction, and the ambulance driver's like, well, what are you doing? Because the deputy jumped in to the ambulance. He's like, you can't come for the right. He's like, I'm just going to come to the hospital with you. But then he puts a gun to him saying, take this next right and do what I say, because he's trying to explain we got to get rid of this killer Jason Voorhees. So the EMT guy is in the back trying to resuscitate Jason. He ends up bringing him fully back, and I thought this whole scene was epic. I thought this was a fast-paced, brutal killing spree here. I mean, it was. I love the needle to the eye. It was cringy when it happened, and I saw it, I'm like, oh my god, that looks kind of like too real for me. I thought that was cool. The practical effects were great. I mean, I could nitpick things, but I'm gonna try not to, because in this review, I'm also telling the things I like about it, the things I don't like about it. But these practical effects were really cool. I loved how when Jason grabbed the girl driver and he pushed his thumbs into her eyes, man. Oh my god, that was so badass. Especially when she fell down her eye sockets, it looked almost real, man. The practical effect, that was awesome. Now, the blood that squirted on Jason's mask, I have to admit, it looked a little bit not too much like blood. It was too thick, almost like kind of like paint. Kind of like it was a little bit weird, but it was still brutal. It was awesome. I liked it. I liked that whole opening sequence. Very well done. I think I could nitpick a little bit here. Police are overdone in these fan-made films. I think you always see a group of police. Me and my friend Josh were talking about this earlier. Seems like every fan-made film, there's got to be a bunch of cops, you know? I could do a little less cops in these films and be a little bit, you know? But anyways, moving on. I don't remember all the characters' names in this because I've only seen it twice. I was going to say once, but I skimmed through it the second time. I've watched it full on first time. Second time I watched it, I skimmed through. Now, Riley Lorden of Slash and Cast had a part in it, and with his girlfriend character in it. And I thought that scene was great. It was funny as hell. I loved how he's explaining to her. They're at the camp. Crystal Lake. He's explaining to her, this is who this Jason Voorhees guy is. This is how it all started. His mother got killed, blah, blah, blah. And she's sitting there like, oh, and then she's like, well, let's go find his grave out there if he's buried here. And he's like, what? Are you nuts? And she's like, come on, let's go do it. And he's like, fuck, fine. I was laughing my ass off on that because it was like almost like realistic. Like that's what you know, you're gonna have to listen to the girl or you're not gonna get some later. So he's like, all right, let's go. If that's what you want to do you understand what I just explained to you? But then obviously one thing led to another. They fall into Jason's blade of his axe, and oh my god, that was pretty brutal. I like the to Riley, that was a pretty cool practical effect there. The one thing I'm a little disappointed in this film, there's too many off-screen, well, not necessarily off-screen kills, but it shows Jason going to whack somebody, but it doesn't show it actually deliver. It just might show like blood or a scream in the back, you know, because there's some scenes that I wish it showed. I know it takes a lot to put this into films, the detail and stuff, and money, but there was a scene with a guitar, the girl playing the guitar up in her room. Jason ended up, you know, I believe he took the cable to the Fender guitar to the amp and choked her, and she fell. But then grabbed the guitar, and I thought it was going to show him go down and actually hit a head and like do some kind of effect where the skull cracks apart or something. That would have been brutal. But it was like kind of an off-screen moment, you know. It showed like the guitar up in the air, but that was awesome. I loved the main Peter Anthony. Sorry, Peter Anthony's acting was point on, pretty funny but badass at the same time. That bar scene was very intimidating. The dude that was in the bar, like the biker type guy that was causing trouble and didn't want anyone messing around the camp. He went up to Peter Anthony and got in his face, and the bottle over the head, the intimidation there was pretty freaking ballsy. That was really good job. I thought that was awesome. I kind of lost a little bit of what was going on with the characters a little bit. That's one negative thing about it. But I liked how every time it flashed back to what Jason's doing next, where he's going, what he's doing when he went in the garage. And I forget the dude's name, but he was grabbing a beer and he downed in a couple beers and crushed the can. I like that. Went up behind him with a hammer, whacked him over the head. I thought that was cool that he still was alive, and I heard you could hear like the ringing, almost like, you know, when you get hit in the head really hard, you hear, he was on the floor, on the ground, crawling away. Jason turns the claw around, but again, I wish it showed him hitting him, like straight up, like brutal. But again, I know what it takes to put that into a film. There was a lot of moments like that. The tent scene, another like kind of off-screen blood squirting across the tent. It was still fun to see these happen like that. But sometimes I just need to see it. I need to see the detail, you guys. I don't know how much work it is, but I wonder if you could just squeeze it in a little bit more. But yeah, the only part I was a little bit disappointed the most in this movie was the very end at the barn. Hey, We got a little guy over here hiding behind the tree. I thought it was someone. Oh, was it Jason? The end barn scene. It was a little weird how like it didn't have a build-up music and like a dramatic like end what you call it, like something dramatic battle, the final ending battle, like music. Jason showed up and it was kind of weird. It was this kind of dry. They were staring at him and there was no like kind of music. It was a little weird to me, but I thought it was badass, blowing him away, hitting him, putting him down. I'm like, well, he's got to go down because now eventually part 6 he comes back to life from the grave, so they have to explain how he goes to the grave technically, you know. So they put him down and then they end up chopping his head off. But then when they chopped his head off, I was like, well, wait a minute, how is this gonna work for part 6? Is this movie the end of it? Are they making this film like this would be like their way of putting Jason down once and for all, or is this gonna be squeezed between the series? So that's, I think, you know, once they dumped his body in the lake. But you guys, overall, I give this video 2 thumbs up. If I were to rate this fan-made film a 1 out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7.5. Practical effects were there. The story of it was there. The fast-paced movement of it was there. The acting was, it was okay. A lot of the acting was good, but some of the acting was kind of like, you know, it kind of was like, what's the point of having like these two kind of mingle and talk about like their relationship, and but then it bounced to something else, like the girl playing the guitar. I thought she was a cool character. I liked the environment. I liked when the door got kicked down on top of the girl, like she got kicked through the door on top of the door. I thought that was the way it looked and felt, the vibe of it. I thought that was really cool, like the house. I definitely give the Jason Voorhees, a Ted White character. He looked amazing. The mask looked great. Thought that Jason definitely did a really good job. The movements of Jason, everything about Jason was good. Riley, I give this 2 thumbs up. Again, if I was going to give this score a 1 out of 10, I'd give it 7.5. Yeah, really good in my book. Check it out. Anyways, that's it for today, campers. I want to say thank you guys for watching. Much appreciated. If you have not subscribed, please consider. Click notifications to all so you don't miss a video in the future or a live stream. And I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, campers, stay out of the woods. For real. Just don't go in those woods, because if you do, you're going to die.